Welcome everyone, this is Alex for the Coaster Spot. And of course we are back at Hersheypark for another construction update of Wildcat's Revenge number 17, filmed on April 23rd. And if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe, it's free, and maybe hit that bell for instant notifications when a video comes out. We're going to start up at the gardens. There's not going to be a lot of change after this week, really, because the only thing left in that view is really the lift hill that you can really visibly see from up there, and the first drop. But here is the zero-G roll on the left, and then the airtime hill right here leading into the double down. We'll get a better view of that once we get into the air, and then we'll get amazing views of the zero-G roll once we get into the park, because the construction site butts up right against park accessible areas. And then, as I said, really not going to be much change other than that first drop going in. This view is almost final, and it looks amazing. There's the lift tail track, not as far up as I was expecting. I was really expecting most of it to be done. They are working on the staircase already, though, and there is another view of that hop up into the double down. Now let's get the annoying part of the video out of the way and ask you to follow me on Instagram. That's where you can get up-to-date stories as I'm at the park of what's going on in construction photos. And then over on Twitter, Coaster Spotting, where I post high-resolution photos so you can zoom in and download and do whatever you want with them. And now we're up in the air. The first things we can talk about is the pathway has been poured all the way from those lockers to the old cattle pen area. So, yeah, there's just not going to be a lot of changes, really. I mean, they were really wrapping things up as far as, like, Q-line. It's coming together way quicker than I was ever expecting. And not a lot of track to do it anymore. Like, we'll talk about that in a moment. But you can see that double down does the 45-degree turn between it, flat. So maybe some laterals. The only other coaster I can think of that does some laterals is the last turn into the brake run on Storm Chaser, so that could be interesting. I don't know, but yeah, we'll see. It's weird not to have like off-axis airtime hills or a major dip between those two. I don't know, it's weird. Right under the lift hill, you can also see that there's some track staged for the lift hill. So 4 pieces there. There are another 2 pieces hidden on site that we'll show you, and then 36 more here in the storage lot, and lots of steel left. So 40 pieces of track, lots of steel on site still, and not a lot of places for it to go. So I'm thinking if they don't have all the deliveries of steel, they are very close. And also, the track from the last bunny hop is all the way into the brake run, for the exception of just 2 pieces that haven't been put in yet, just for access to the site, because the crane is in the middle of the roller coaster right now. And then there's another gap right after the airtime hill that needs to be filled. After that, it's just first drop, lift hill, and then the helix with the overbank. So really, not a lot left to go. I think they could be done with track in 2 weeks, 3 weeks max. You know, we have some other developments that, I don't know. I'm not saying Memorial Day weekend. I still don't think that's reasonable, but I'm thinking shortly afterwards. Comment down below what you think. You know, I'm just making predictions here. I'm sure their target date is Memorial Day weekend, because that's what they usually do. It's what a lot of parks do in the United States now, since they open so early. They want people to be excited to visit the park early in spring, and then they want another reason for them to come back. So I don't love it. No one loves it, but that's the way it is. Finally was able to go up on the Ferris wheel and get a view of the ride from there. It's okay. It's not great. It will look a lot better in the winter when the trees have shed their leaves. But yeah, looks great. There's that stall. That's weird. The bottom of that hill, which has a third support, it's very small. And there is as far as the track has gone up. And then just a wicked view of that first wave turn, which is actually slightly more than 90 degrees, as you can see. So that could be interesting. And then the first zero-G roll under construction. I've been meaning to show you the progress of the whip building, its renovation. The roof is done. All the cladding on the dormers are done. So exterior-wise, it's pretty much done. But inside, all they've done is remove the ride. They do have that taping on the floor. I'm not sure what that's for. Maybe a mock-up of where some haunt maze could go. Not sure. There's the entrance cupola. As you can see, it got the red roof this week. I was predicting that's what it was going to get last week, and it did. Q-line looks pretty much identical. I don't think they've done anything at all, especially with all the leaves in it that are untouched. And there you can see the lower track between the brake run is that double down. And here is the final hop into the brake run. As you can see, it's not a straight run. After that final turn, there's a little bit of a jolt into the brake run, which could be cool. And nice to have a little bunny hop. As little as it is, it could make a big difference. So we'll see. And then again, there is the raise up into the double down. And the station area looking more and more complete, which is exciting, because when they have that done, even before track is complete, they could theoretically start testing trains around the station area, unload and transfer, as Gwazi had and started testing the day after they completed the track. And the reason I think that they could be doing that is one of the trains is in its storage area. Of course, there are going to be 2 more because it's going to be running 3 trains, but as you can see, one of the trains is on track. They haven't posted about this yet because I think they kind of want to wait a little bit longer to just show that off since the topping just happened. And now here's the view that I've been showing you for the last few weeks where I've said it was going to get very different. And here's a week ago. Look at that difference. So that is quite a bit. You can fully see the Cobra roll of Fahrenheit now. That is crazy. And that is because you're diving down immediately out of the first 0G roll, and then you will be diving out of the overbank that's being built right before the second 0G roll. So yeah, that really opened up the area a little bit. Here is the presence of the lift hill from the midway. It's huge. And with all that structure cut down, the track of the second 0G roll is much more visible. They haven't added anything to this at this point. I believe by next week we probably will see some more. And here are those track pieces I won't stop talking about that come so close to each other. And there's that saddle that was very misaligned last week, but didn't need to do any modifications to get it in place. The first COG roll is semi-complete. One of the rails is completely inverted, but they haven't put in the second rail there, which is kind of neat. Which also leads me to believe that there is actually 41 pieces of track remaining to be installed. There are a bunch of bents right over the fence, waiting to be placed. Probably to those 3 bents to the left there, where there aren't any. Looking down the barrel of the 0G roll is like the coolest thing ever. I love that view. There's the bottom of the lift hill where you can see that stairs have been placed along with the track, and just a few more bents waiting for track. And I'm including this shot because there's something that people would not stop talking about as they pass by. You will never guess what it is, but this impact drill that was just hanging out. Some people that were probably in the construction industry were kind of flabbergasted that would just be hanging out unattended for an entire day, that they're not working. But if you don't know, there's a lot of issues with theft on construction sites, whether it's people externally or just other construction workers. So it makes sense. There's a view of those bents that go very low to the ground, which is really neat. And just all the wood boards in place to be lifted in very soon. Felt like they were like in the middle of everything on Saturday, and they're like, okay, it's quitting time. Another view of that second COG roll as it snakes its way through all that structure. And then here's that 270 helix area that's going to include a overbank, the only overbank on the entire ride, which is good. I think the overuse of overbanks was a problem with RMC. And then there's the approach to the lift hill. There is a gap there, but I assume those are the pieces of track that will bridge the gap between the bottom of the lift hill and that turn. Another view of that track that's looking very single rail-esque and pretty wicked, of course. As I said before, I think they pretty much lifted this in place and didn't do much other than get a few bolts in and then quit for the day. I also find it neat how they are installing the COG roll, whereas there are a few bents that are missing and they're just going to be lowered onto the track instead of the track being bolted up to it. There's the straight-on view of the lift hill with the flag flying. All right, we're almost to the end of the construction update. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. But here's the view from the bus stop of that lift hill and the double down. That's the first part of the double down. You can see it's very shallow. And then there is the drop off of it from inside the park. So it's a nice drop off the double down. So you also see very quickly that there's some bents that are a little bit too low, it seems. We had that problem with the airtime hill a month ago or so, and it looks like they're going to have to make some adjustments there. You can see some saddles hanging out on top of the track that they've completely removed, so some modifications are going to have to be made there probably. And then that's it. Thanks for watching. This has been Alex for the Coaster Spot. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we will be back, of course, next weekend for another construction update. But I don't think we're going to need many more until we're seeing testing going on. But as far as track, we're almost there.